What's going on, everybody? It's your girl Crystal. You're listening to the Real Deal podcast. I'm your host. Guys, today I have a very special treat for you. But some housekeeping stuff first. If you guys are new listeners to the show, thank you guys for tuning in and for being a part of this journey with me. This would be my 15th episode, I think, that I'm releasing. And every week the show grows. So I really just love and appreciate you guys that are sharing the show, that are listening to the show, and who are supporting me. If you guys don't know, I do have a website that's out now. You can find it at www.therealdealpodcast.net. I do have the shows that are uploaded on there. I also do some blogging here and there whenever I find the time, or if I feel like there's something that's really important, a message or a light bulb that just goes off in my head, something I want to share with you guys and I'm not able to record right away, I end up blogging it. So you can also find that on the website. And also follow my Instagram page because I've been trying to get some more traffic through there. You can find that at _, the Real Deal Podcast _. And you'll probably come across my personal page. Y'all can follow me on there too. But just to give you guys a brief summary of the show, today we're going to be talking about this whole nonsense with I feel like I'm going to call it the war on trans and on drag queens, because that's literally what it is. And I do have somebody very special on the show with me, who's my cousin. She's way more in the scene when it comes to like drag queens, and honestly just the LGBTQ plus community in general, because like I've told y'all before, I'm in Las Vegas. It's a very tourist city. I haven't met many people that I'm close with. I also don't trust people just that easily, especially in a city like this. So I haven't really been out much in general, and I also haven't networked the way I would like to. So in order to bring you guys more value to the show, I figured why not have the perfect person who's in the scene, who has been through, the transition herself, who can give you her take on what's been going on. So I want to introduce you to my cousin.
Hi everyone. My name is Giuliani. I'm here in South Florida, Pembroke Pines, but I frequent Miami and Fort Lauderdale, two very hot, big hotspots for drag and the LGBTQIA plus community. And I myself, am a trans woman. I began my transition a year and 4 months ago, so I started my hormones, hormone replacement, testosterone blockers, stuff like that. Um, and it's something that I've always known. I didn't know there was a word for it, or like there was, I can categorize myself as a trans woman. But I just always knew that I was not meant to be born in this body. Yes, I was born in this body. I obviously have no choice, but I feel like I was born in the wrong body. Gender dysphoria is very, very big in my life, takes over my life constantly, and that's something that's very common in the trans community. Um, and yeah, just it's it's difficult to know and see all the things that are happening at the moment, especially in Florida, the red states specifically. It's
Is
very,
Florida a red state, by the way?
it is. Our
Okay.
governor is Ron DeSantis, and he's
Okay. I didn't
Republican.
know
Yeah,
the governor, probably a stupid ass question, but I didn't know the governor, like, I didn't know whatever political party they were in determines the entire state. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
pretty much it is. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, so if you'd like to, we can get right into it.
yeah. Let's do it.
But first, I do want to ask you, like, because like talked about before the show, talk a little bit more about like how you knew
Okay,
that you were born in the wrong body, because I'm sure like some people listening to the show may be struggling with the same thing.
correct.
And like, just like you said, they don't know that there's a word for it. And it's something that sucks, you know what I mean? Because especially me, like trying to figure out my journey when I
Mm-hmm.
was trying to figure out, am I really bisexual? Because you know how we grew up with our
Right.
family, like it was so taboo. Like we never ever talked about our
Right.
sexuality or anything like that. And so for me, it was always a constant battle. Like, do I like girls? And because I never got to explore it, because I was scared of taking that step, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
nah, I don't like girls. I was like, nah. But then it always kept coming back. You know what I mean? Like no
Yeah.
matter if I prayed it away, if I try to run from it, it was always a part of me. And so one day I just had to accept it. And so I
Yep.
know that for my journey, but for people who are struggling with this different but similar kind of journey,
Mm-hmm.
if you could just touch on that a little more for them.
Yeah, of course. So growing up, obviously I was born and raised in South Florida, Miami. Um, I wasn't exposed to anything LGBTQIA plus whatever. No drag queens, no, trans women, trans men, trans individuals, um, non-binary people, I was never exposed to that. Um, so growing up, I always knew I was different simply because of the way I talked. I was always told like, "Oh, you talk very feminine and like a girl. You walk like a girl. You do like you have a lot of mannerisms that a lot of girls have." And it's not something that I picked up on because I was like, I don't know what the fuck.
That's
Like,
just who you
oh,
were.
excuse me, didn't mean to say a bad word.
I curse all the time on the show. You can say what you want. It's fine.
Okay, okay. Like I didn't know, I didn't have that around me. So growing up, I just thought it was like, I'm different, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Until I was in, elementary school, I would get bullied. People would call me gay, whatever, whatever. Whole nine, very traumatizing. Um, but it made me stronger. So definitely like appreciate that.
It
Kind
gave
of
you some
weird to
thick
say.
skin.
Yeah, I definitely did. In middle school, I came out as gay. Well, I came out first as bisexual in seventh grade, and then, just happened to be gay, and I just
Yeah.
stayed like that until I was about 16, 17. I was like, I feel kind of weird, like I see girls and I'm like, oh my God, I want to have their body. Whereas, I was cisgendered male at the time, and I was like, I should be looking at guys and be like, I want their body rather than looking at girls and being like, I want their body. I want the
That
the
stigma.
hourglass figure, the breasts, the feminine features, the soft skin, stuff like that. Um, but again, didn't know what trans meant. Didn't know anybody, so I
Even at
couldn't
16, right?
even at 16. Um, so I decided to just like put that in the background and just not think about it until I got to about 19. I was like, okay, typed into Google, like, this is how I'm feeling. What could this mean? Um, and I spoke to a few people, but obviously they weren't a part of the community, so they didn't understand. So that really got
Okay.
me nowhere.
Yeah.
Until I turned 21, I went to this place called Our House in Miami. Great drag spot. Some of the best drag queens, best foods, amazing vibes, energy, people.
I've seen the videos that you post on Instagram and it does look lit.
It's amazing. It's honestly one
Yeah.
of my favorite places to go to. It's a safe space for everybody. Um, Wonderful
And it's
crowds.
important to have that, a safe
Yes, it
space for
is.
everybody.
It is. It definitely is. So I went for my 21st birthday and I met this performer, Kat Wilderness, and I was like, oh my God, I've seen her on Twitter. That was like the first basically trans woman that I've ever seen out and like
Yeah.
thriving.
And in the open.
So, right. So I asked her for some advice. I was like, this is how I'm feeling, whatever, whatever. And over time, we just started having more conversations. And then I was like comfortable enough to be like, okay, this is what I am. And this is, excuse me, this is how I've been feeling for a while.
Mhm.
So over time, we had like conversations. My friend group grew, started meeting more trans women, trans men, trans individuals, non-binary people, and it was great, and it is great. I love meeting new
Mhm.
people all across the spectrum. Um,
Um,
and yeah, I just decided like, okay, this is my time to live for me. So it's not so much that being trans is a choice.
mhm.
Um, it's a choice to, undergo hormones. It's a choice to get surgeries and stuff like that. But I didn't
Mhm.
choose to think the way I do, or feel the way I do, or have gender dysphoria the way I do. It's not
Or
it's not a
even just like
choice.
your natural mannerisms too, because like
Right.
I can vouch for that because we grew up together, and like ever
Mm-hmm.
since I could remember, like us in fucking diapers, you
Right.
were you were always the more feminine one,
Yeah,
always, like
always.
even especially more than me.
Exactly.
So it's something I always noticed because I was always comparing myself to you, low key. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, well, why am I not like that? You know what I mean? Because I'm not the most feminine or girly. Like I'm very tomboyish,
Right.
and that's always just how I've been. So I can definitely vouch for that, and I feel like that's important, which is why I wanted to touch on it. Is that a lot of people think that it's a choice or that it's some
Mm-hmm.
kind of like mental illness or something like that. Like people don't know what they want, and I understand if it's like a kid that's maybe under the age of 12, 14, who could be confused because I
Mm-hmm.
was a tomboy, right? But that doesn't mean that I would ever want to fully transition. That's just not
Right,
my
of
personal
course.
choice.
Of
And
course.
so I can understand that with children, but also we shouldn't block them from exploring that side of them because maybe what if they do, like you, really truly feel that way? And then as they
Mm-hmm.
get older, you know, they don't know what to do. And like you, they don't know where to go. Like you
Right.
started doing your own research at 19, didn't even fully start your journey until you were 21, right?
21. Mm-hmm.
And that's a long time to be dealing with that,
Yeah.
like a very long time.
Yeah.
And so I'm proud of you, by the way, that you even decided
Thank
to like
you.
really truly be yourself, said fuck what everybody thinks,
Right.
because
This is
especially in
my life.
Florida too, bitch.
It's hard, especially Miami, because Miami is like,
Yeah,
you would think that it's like this super open city. It's, party town, whatever, everything's just
that's what
free
I figured.
mind.
Like more people are accepting.
They are to a certain extent. So they're like, okay, you could be gay, but they don't really have an understanding as to what a trans woman is, or
Exactly.
what a trans individual is, a trans man.
And the
So
struggles you
it's
guys go
very
through
different.
just internally, not even on top of what people externally try to put on you.
Exactly. Like today, I'm at the gym, and it happens everywhere I go. I could go to the supermarket, I could go to the gym, I could go to school. People are gonna look, people are gonna judge, people are gonna say things under their breath, thinking that I don't hear them, I don't see them, or like I don't feel them staring.
Yeah.
But it's hard. I'm not gonna say that it's easy and I just, brush it off and keep going. But at the end of the day, like, I'm gonna sound a little aggressive for saying this, but they're not fucking me, they're not feeding me, they're not housing me, they're not doing shit for me. So at the end of the day, I honestly do not care what they
Yeah.
think or how they feel. Because at the end
And
of the
that
day, some
is bad bitch energy right there.
period. Because honestly, you'd be surprised. Like, a lot of people that do the talking and do like oh, it's whatever, whatever, are the ones that be in my DMs. Like,
That's
there are a few guys,
exactly.
after I
Yo.
started my transition that um are in my DMs now. Like, oh, you look
And it's
so
like it's
good.
okay. It's
Right.
okay.
It is
Like
okay.
why are you like that's the thing I don't understand is like it is literally just okay. I guess I shouldn't say I don't understand because I denied myself for so long, but
It's something
literally
people have
once
to come to terms with, but stand on it. The same way you
yeah,
stand on everything, your other beliefs, stand on what you like.
and just
Nothing
who
wrong
you
with
are
that.
though.
And who you are
Exactly.
exactly.
If that's what makes you happy and it's literally not harming someone else, I don't see why it's such a big deal. And it did take a lot for me, like I said, to get there,
Hmm.
and fully accept myself and just say like a big fuck you, like you said, to everybody who doesn't accept
Right.
it. Because we're not doing nothing to harm anybody. We're living our lives, loving who we want to love. And for me, that's the true definition of freedom. Like all these pro American, pro freedom,
Hmm.
all you know what I'm saying? It's only
Right.
pro freedom, but with if it's their own agenda.
Right.
You
If
know
it's
what I'm
convenient
saying?
for them.
Exactly. And so transitioning to the Tennessee ban on drag queen shows, I do have an article for you guys that aren't aware, haven't heard too much about it. I'm going to read a few paragraphs from this article. It's from Time Magazine, it's posted online. The headline reads, Tennessee passed the nation's first law limiting drag shows. Here's the status of anti drag bills across the U.S. And I'm going to post this link on the website for you guys so that way, if you guys do want to check out this article yourself, you definitely can. But just to give an overview, it goes over a lot of the states that are already proposing legislation to ban drag queen shows. But Tennessee is the first state so far, first state and only state so far to explicitly ban drag shows in public spaces. And so this article goes in depth about what exactly the bill says, and it defines drag queen shows as like adult cabarets or adult oriented performances that include male or female impersonators, which the verbiage is like, it's very disrespectful for one. Like,
Hmm.
just the way that they put it in law for me is it's just disrespectful. Like, I don't really know how else to put it. And so if you read a little bit further down the article, so we're gonna go through the states um, that so far have proposed legislation to ban drag queen shows. So Tennessee was the first one to officially ban it, but then we have Arizona, Arkansas, Idaho, Kansas, Kentucky, Missouri, which none of these names surprise me, first of all. Montana, Nebraska, Oklahoma, which is a little surprising to me, South Carolina, Texas is no surprise, West Virginia, and a couple of more states. And these are just the states that have proposed, a
That
similar
want to come out
bill,
with bills, right? Hmm.
yeah, that Tennessee passed. But so far in 2023, let me find the number for you guys because the number is outrageous. I think there's about 353 proposed laws that have been introduced just in 2023 alone that literally target the LGBTIA plus community. And it's very disappointing, honestly, in my
Disheartening, yeah.
opinion, because like we're in 2023 and you would think that people would be not even just accepting, but people would be a little bit more educated on our community, right? Because since 2015, since we got that the Supreme Court ruled that gay marriage is legal and we can have that, which it's
Hmm.
crazy that that even had to be debated, but like that was in 2015. That was 8 years ago. And now we have all these bills being proposed, and it's like, it just really feels like we're taking steps backwards. And they're supposedly doing it all in the name of protect the children, don't groom the children, don't sexualize the children. And I'm not gonna lie, at first I was like, fuck yeah, don't sexualize the children. Because I'm all about kids, I'm all about
Right,
protecting
of
kids.
course.
My mom is a victim of sexual abuse when she was a child. So that just hits home for me, as well as like a lot of people that I'm close to have been through that. And
Hmm.
I have two little nephews that, God forbid, if anything were to happen, like it's war. Like y'all think this Russia, China, USA shit is bad? Trust me, it could get real grimy out here.
Yeah.
But so that's just one thing I don't fuck with is the kids and
Yeah, no, of course.
with pedophiles or nothing. And so at first, without me doing my due diligence, I assumed that that was the right thing to do. Not to ban drag queen shows, but at least to look into it to be like, yo, what are these individuals doing performing in front of kids like that? And so my theory is after I've done my due diligence and I've done my research and things like that. Okay, well, before I get into my theory, wouldn't you agree that it's a fact that most drag queens and most transgender individuals are not with the sexualization of kids? That's a fact.
Well, not, yeah, like that's not this theory or this narrative that certain people want to push on trans individuals, drag queens, or people in the LGBTQIA plus community, um, that they're groomers, that they have an agenda um, to like transform these kids or change these kids'
Like
mind,
push
push
what
their
they
agenda.
say
Like
our
we don't,
lifestyle on them.
I can assure you on everything that I love, I've never met anybody within my community. And I know a lot of people, and I've socialized with a lot of people, people that
A
are
lot of drag
activists,
queens,
a
we
lot of
do have
drag
to
queens,
emphasize
trans
that.
individuals. Like their agenda is not that. They literally simply just like to perform, entertain, make light of certain situations, and just show their
That's how
art
they express
form. It's an
themselves.
art
Yeah.
form.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy to me, like that narrative that you want to, that some trans individuals want to like groom kids or push an agenda. Like it's just,
Like
it's
they wake up thinking about that shit. You know
small-minded
what I mean?
individuals. Yeah. Like we're
Yeah, and
some evil
honestly,
people.
yeah. And like for me, once I started really looking into it and looking at the specific videos of the so-called like drag queens performing for kids, like if you it's just something about those videos that's off when you look at those videos compared to other drag queen shows and the vibe and the drag queens themselves, how they're dressed, how they present themselves, how they're expressing themselves. It's two totally different things if you really look at it. And my theory is, so I don't know if you knew this, Juby, but there's not a theory now, right? It came out weeks ago that the CIA had to do with JFK's assassination. And so JFK, right? So he's the president that was in the parade
Hmm.
outdoors and he just
Got
gets
his
shot.
brain blown out, right?
Yeah. In the middle of a parade, broad
Hmm.
daylight. The CIA had something to do with it, if not was the catalyst for that to happen, right? This just came out like
Wow.
recently this
I
year.
didn't know
Yeah.
that.
So my theory is with all the bullshit, all the corruption, all the stealing and shit that our government loves to do, I feel like for real, you guys gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm gonna give y'all receipts when I'm done. But anyways, my theory is I feel like these three-letter agencies or these elites that I will call it, the people that truly run our country behind the scenes, I feel like their agenda is to divide our country so that we're weak because we are weaker when we're divided.
Hmm.
I don't know if you guys have ever had like a family gathering or like a kickback or some kind of party where everybody you fuck with there is there and y'all are vibing, it's a happy time, y'all are united and you feel like it's y'all against the world.
Right.
I feel like these elites are totally against that and they're making us weak on purpose. And I feel like part of them doing that is they see the acceptance that we're starting to have as a community. They see the love that we're truly spreading, the
Hmm.
education and the knowledge that we're spreading, right? About our community and how it's okay to feel the way you do if you do truly feel these things, right?
Hmm.
So I feel like there's certain individuals that are being put in place to impersonate actual drag queens and to do these performances in front of kids the way that they're doing them, like showing off their genitals, twerking in front of toddlers, like wild shit that you're seeing in these videos that actual drag queens wouldn't be doing.
I
You know
mean,
what I
I
mean?
for
Like it's
one, I've never seen any video or any drag performer show off like their genitals, at least in front of
mhm.
kids, because
Yeah.
obviously I wouldn't approve of that. Like that's fucking insane. I
Exactly.
would definitely not want that to happen around any child.
Exactly.
Um, Obviously there are videos of drag queens who are, not wearing, they're they're not
The
clothed.
the most conservative way.
Right. I'm trying to find a way to put it. They're not like,
Like not literally
super,
half
super
naked, but not
right.
conservative.
It's basically like a bodysuit and they
Yeah.
come out, very beautiful women and showing off what they have. But my thing with this is that drag shows were never intended to be for kids. Yes,
Exactly.
it's great,
That's
like
also part of my theory is
to
like when the fuck did this even come about? It's
it's
recent.
parents, parents bringing their
Yeah.
kids to drag shows to expose them to, you know, different individuals, and not that they're doing it with malicious intent to like cause harm to anybody, but they might want their kid to be more accepting or to know that, love is love, or there's different people, but you can still love them and you could see past their differences or your differences, and you could still, like have good conversations and be good people to each other.
And I'm with that.
And that's a great
I'm definitely
message.
with that. Yeah.
But at the same time, a drag show is not, it shouldn't be that place. Because now at the end
Yeah.
of the day, like, you're fucking with people's livelihood. Tennessee, you're
It's
banning
harming the
drag
community.
across, across
And
the
in
state.
public spaces at that, which I was looking into it, and lawfully, like constitutionally, it goes against, our First Amendment rights to
First
express
Amendment right,
ourselves and to
exactly.
perform in public spaces. So I'm pretty sure this goes to Supreme Court. It's going to get overthrown. It has to
Of
because it
course.
goes against the literal Constitution itself. And whatever you guys believe that are listening to the show, at least like just don't be a dumbass. Like don't be an ignorant individual. It is against the Constitution. Whether you accept it, like it, believe it, whatever, fuck with it, don't fuck with it. It is against our First Amendment rights. And last time I checked, we're all fucking American. And the same rights that are bestowed upon you are bestowed upon us. So fortunately, unfortunately, that's just how it is and what it is. But that's why I have that theory is because it really started happening out of nowhere. And I feel
It
like it's
really
meant to
did.
divide us, but it's coming from individuals that are not really drag queens. Because I've also looked into these so-called drag queens that were performing in front of the kids like that, like showing their genitals and everything, which I'll share those videos with you too just so you can see them. But their names don't pop up anywhere. Like they're not on Instagram, they're not on Twitter, they're not on Facebook. There's no like ads or cuz drag queens they usually have like a brand, a personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
You can follow them on Instagram, they're out there cuz that's how they get booked for shows and things like that. You can't
Right.
find these people. So it's like
I've
it's
never
I feel
come
like it's
across
a
that
target
theory.
on our community.
Oh, yeah,
You
for
know what
sure
I
it
mean?
is.
Like, and it's harmful. They don't realize it's harmful because now that Tennessee got this ban or got this bill to pass, it's like okay, well that sets the precedent for whatever else they want to ban when it comes to our community. And so
Mm-hmm.
if we go down this hole, it's gonna be like extremely harmful to everybody.
It is. It's very disheartening to say the least. I mean, the one from the article that I like that you shared with me, the one that I found it the most shocking and the hardest to like grasp was Arizona. And I'll read it to you verbatim. It says Arizona's drag ban would characterize drag shows as a part of adult-oriented performances. Artists that perform in front of children under 15 years old would be subject to at least 10 years in prison and forced to register as sex offenders, according to the Arizona mayor. People who allow minors to view drag shows or even enter a location where one is happening would also be punished. So to me, it's like you want to classify us as groomers already. Like, as we have an agenda to push, or we have this thing where we want to push our agenda to bring more gay people or more people to the LGBTQIA plus community. Like,
Which, can we talk about that real quick?
yeah,
Because if your child is gay, bro, there's nothing, and I'm telling you this from experience, there is nothing on this God green earth that you can do about it. Okay? That is literally just who they are. They don't need us telling them shit. They don't need us doing no drag queen story hours. Like,
mm-mm,
that's not gonna turn your kid gay. Okay? That is weak
definitely not.
ass thinking. That's dumb ass
Definitely not.
thinking. I've never understood that shit.
But let's say a priest comes into the school and they want to start preaching about, the Bible and all this stuff, then it would be,
It would be okay.
woohoo, it would be applauded, like, oh my God, that's
Yeah.
such good stuff. No,
Which,
it's
not even
it's
to like,
it's hypocrisy at its finest.
yeah, and not even to like target anybody's religion, right? Because I still consider myself a Christian, right?
Right.
But also like, and it's true. There, matter of fact, hold on, because there's a state that I didn't agree with the drag queen ban, but
It
I
was
agreed
Nebraska.
with. I think it was Nebraska. Hold
The
on.
one about the religion that it's like
Yes. I when I read that, I was like, yo, whoever this senator is low key on point. But now with the
right.
drag queen shit. So I didn't know how to feel about it, but I'm gonna read it for the audience. But so Nebraska's bill is called LB 371. This bill would prohibit anyone under the age of 19 from attending a drag show, and it was first introduced in January. And if alcohol is served at the show, people under the age of 21 would also be prohibited from attending. Senator Dave Merman, who authored the bill, said that the provision would help protect children, quote unquote. And the bill was later amended by Senator Megan Hunt to prohibit children from participating in Bible studies, church camp, or other religious programs. And this is a quote. The legislature finds that there is a well documented history of indoctrination and sexual abuse perpetrated by religious leaders and clergy people upon children. End
Now,
quote.
that's
And
how you
that's what
clear a
she
witch.
added. Yes. And that she added
It's
that to that
true.
amendment. And it's very true. So if we're going to talk about, if y'all really want to talk about the sexualization of children, y'all need to look in your back door, and y'all need to look in y'all's churches. And I'm being
Mm-hmm.
so for real. I'm being so for real. And not every church is like that, right? I'm not saying that.
Right, of
Not
course.
every pastor or preacher has those intentions, but you guys are too trusting in those situations, and that's why it happens the most, right? Because I mean, it's not insane to think like, okay, I can trust my kids with this pastor, with this preacher. You should be able to trust your kids with those individuals, but unfortunately you can't trust the kids with anybody, with any
Mm.
adult,
Whether it be, it
because
could even be in your family.
that's what
It
I'm saying.
could
But
be
it's
in your
9 times out of
family.
10 somebody you know. It's almost never a stranger.
Of course.
And this is the statistics. And so, yeah, so I fuck with Senator Megan Hunt for that. Cause that's literally the only
Queen.
state, yeah, the only state that chose to speak on the truth. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the only reason that bill hasn't been passed yet is because of that
Because
amendment
of
that she
that part.
added,
Yeah, of course.
which is crazy. Because if y'all really want to talk about the sexualization of kids, let's fucking talk about it.
That could be a whole separate podcast.
No, for
We could
real.
bring so many victims. So
Yeah,
many victims
but
would come forward.
yeah, but I do want to ask you personally,
Mm-hmm.
because like I said, you're in that scene way more than I am. What do you wish more people knew about drag in general?
That's a great question. My answer is gonna be from somebody who is an outsider. I am not a performer, nor do I
Okay.
claim to be. I just
Yeah.
associate with performers, and I am very close to performers. As somebody from the outside, it's an art form. It's a way to of self-expression. Um, it's it's entertainment. And it's not all about dancing and being provocative like the way that these people want to paint it. or lip syncing to very like horrible songs or songs that had, some language that obviously nobody would want a kid to hear. But
Exactly.
there's different forms of drag. It's not just one type. There's comedy queens, there's ventriloquists, and there's freaking people that, they start playing with metal and creating sparks and
Like
stuff like that.
fire and shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Like these are actually talented performers. This isn't people
Yes,
just
it's not
dancing
just
and
people
shit.
that just put a wig on, throw on some makeup, looking mediocre, and just walk out and perform. Like, no, these people take their time to learn the art, perfect their art form, and just give it their all. And a lot of people make money off of this. This is their livelihood. So, for all these bans and these bills to come into play to try and like jeopardize that, it's horrible. It's so sad. It's not only like all of that, but being associated with this community, like this is basically a chosen family. Fortunately enough, I have family that backs me and loves me no matter what. Same thing with Crystal. But some people don't have that luxury. So, they might rely on a drag queen for their entertainment to make them smile. They might be having a horrible week, year, 5 years of their life. But, stuff like that brings joy to them and makes them forget about the problems that they're going through. So it's not just basing it off like these people are provocative, there's groomers, they're disgusting, it's a sin and all this bullshit. Like
Yeah.
it's an ignorant narrative to put out there.
Yeah. And it takes away from the beauty that it really is, you know what I
Of
mean? Because
course.
it is freeing and loving, you know what I mean, and very accepting. And like you said, it's
Mm-hmm.
important for people to have that outlet and to have that community to go to. And it sucks that, we're literally being targeted. And I feel like it's I feel like the agenda with that is not so much, I mean, it could be, I could be wrong, but I feel like it's not so much a war on us as it is a war on America in general, and just dividing us any way that we can, even dividing us within our own community, because there's some people within our own community that aren't really educated, you know what I mean, on what's
Right.
going on, and they agree with the Republican side of it of like, oh, we shouldn't be grooming our kids or sexualizing our kids. Like, these groups that are coming out that are mostly conservative or like far right people,
Mm-hmm.
that are literally within the community that are not having our backs because they refuse to see our side of it. Instead of seeing like the big picture, which is, hey, this is meant to divide us. You're not seeing what's really going on.
My issue with like the far right is that they go based off like one video that they saw or like a couple. Like, I want them to go out to a drag show and experience what it is and see, like,
See for
how it's
themselves.
not what they portray it to be. It's not any
Yeah.
of that. It's really
And
just
I'm pretty
people
sure,
trying to make a living and using their art form as that.
and minding their business. They're just going about their life, doing what makes
Exactly.
them happy. And I don't know. It's just, it's really crazy that, like I said, even now that like we're talking about it, it's just, it still baffles me that we're even discussing this shit at this point in
Hmm.
time. Like, it's
Very
insane.
sad.
But also, I did have another question I wanted to ask you before we end the show. But is there anything you wanted to contribute or like ask me about this topic,
Um,
about anything?
well, for you, I want you to, it's not so much a question, but I want you to step out and go to a gay club in Las Vegas. I was about to say Atlanta for whatever reason. In Las Vegas.
Bitch, I am not in Atlanta.
Definitely not. I want you to go out to a show and experience it. Obviously, you're above the age of 21, and
Yeah, I'm old as shit. I could go.
go to like a brunch or during the day, or go to a nightclub and go watch drag queens perform. I want you to experience that luxury so you can
Mm-hmm.
be able to see the beauty behind it all and
Right.
know that it's not fucking people trying to groom kids. Like,
Yeah.
no, most of these
It's
fucking
not like
predators
that
are
at all.
white men.
But exactly, but the thing is, I know this, right? Like, I know this, but it's because of you, it's because of Jancy, it's because
Hmm.
of all of my friends in North Carolina that are part of the community. I literally
Right.
see it in their interactions, I see it in their posts, I see it in their videos. So I already have that other perspective. But you're right, I should go to one, and it's not that I haven't been trying to. I work two jobs. I'm also doing the podcast.
No, of
I'm working on
course.
personal development. And
As you
also, what it
should.
is I get social anxiety. Believe it or not, I do. And if I don't go with a few people that I know and it's just me by myself, I'll start freaking the fuck out. Like
You know what's
internally.
crazy is that obviously as a trans woman, I'm not going to be fully welcomed into cis hetero places where like majority is just a bunch of cis het men and women.
Yeah,
So I obviously get it social anxiety in, like clubs that aren't,
those situations.
yeah. There are a lot of clubs that are safe spaces, right?
Yeah.
But one thing I've noticed is not only because I'm a part of the community, but anytime you go into a gay club, a brunch spot that offers um drag brunches, it's a safe space. So like you could literally walk up to somebody and be like, "Oh, this is my first time here. Have you been here before? Whatever, whatever." That's how you get the ball rolling. That's how you meet people, and then you just start networking and talking to other people, and you get
I
your
don't know
foot in
what
that
it
door.
is, cause like you know me, I'm usually very extroverted. Like I like talking to people and I love
I'm the
people in
opposite.
general. I know, I
I'm
know.
very much the opposite, but
But for some reason, like lately, because my girlfriend has been taking me to a lot of concerts lately. Like
mm-hmm,
she'll just randomly buy tickets and be like, "We're going," and I'm like, "Fuck,
mm,
well, you already got it, so I guess we're going." And
right,
so I notice, like when I'm in those spaces, because it's people I don't know, like nobody that I know, I like I don't act myself. Like I'm very serious. I'm very on guard. I'm very aware because it's
right,
like I also feel like I'm like the protector in a sense too, and like I
mm,
have to just keep my eyes on everything.
on everybody, yeah, of course,
Yeah, because I don't know these people and it's
right,
Vegas. Like I just don't
mm-hmm,
trust people and I feel like that's what it is. Like my social anxiety, I kind of have to get out of my head and truly just enjoy the experience of everything going on.
right. And the same way you can't trust people like in a regular venue, like there are certain people that you can't trust in a venue for the LGBTQIA plus community.
Yeah,
Um, Nobody's perfect. No community is perfect. There's obviously
of
rotten apples
course.
here and there, but at the same time, like
For the
people
most part
go
though,
to
you're
these
saying it's
spaces,
welcoming.
right? It's very welcoming. People
Yeah.
go into these spaces to forget about their problems, to forget about the things that they're going through, to forget about their family not accepting them,
Yeah.
losing people because of it, you know? So people go in with like open arms, open hearts, and ready to welcome anybody and everybody that comes in. But
You know
obviously,
what? I'm gonna make that part of my list for this year. I'm
yes,
going
do it.
to hella drag queen shows. Also because like I said, I'm very rebellious and that's gonna be my way of saying fuck y'all. I'm gonna support my community. I'm gonna support my trans individuals. I'm gonna support my
Mm-hmm.
drag queens. And I did want to ask, is there such a thing as drag kings? For
There
real though.
is, yeah, there is.
Okay, okay. Because all I hear is drag queen this, drag queen that, and I'm like, y'all are being sexist though. Because what
It's
about
not
my
as
drag
common as
kings?
drag queens. Drag kings are not as common as drag queens, but they're
Yeah,
still out there, and there's I've met a few of them, and they're honestly amazing performers. They do
really.
a hell of a good job. They're great. They're
Yeah,
amazing. But
I
also,
feel
like,
so uneducated. Like I need to go.
yes, go out, enjoy the shows, make
Yeah.
friends, socialize, but also educate yourself based on other people's experiences because my experience might not be the next person's experience or the previous
That's
person's
true.
experience. Because I've had conversations with tons of trans women and trans individuals, and our experiences were completely different. Some
Yeah.
people went a different route that I'm going, you know? Some people choose not to be on hormones, but that doesn't mean that they're not
Exactly.
trans or they're not a trans individual,
Or even
you
go through
know,
the surgeries.
or go through surgeries. That doesn't make a trans person. The same
Mm-hmm.
way, big breast and a big ass doesn't make fucking a woman.
Exactly.
Same concept.
Mm-hmm.
So just take that to enjoy yourself, but also learn and educate yourself. So that way you can educate the next person and the next
Yeah.
person. And it's a chain
Yeah.
reaction. And something that's very, very important that I want to highlight is if you guys want to make a change in your community, go out and vote. Voting is
Yes.
important.
It is
Voting is
extremely
like the
important.
most important thing in this fucking planet. If you have the ability to vote, go out and vote. And I'm not saying that you have to vote for, Democrats because they're so LGBTQ pro, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
voting is very important because it makes your voice heard.
Yeah. And vote.
And it
I
also
For me, I
benefits
would
other people.
advise. I'm not telling y'all who to vote for, right? I'm not telling
Yeah,
y'all who to vote
no,
for
I'm not
because
either.
I voted for the wrong motherfucker the last election. Let me just say that. So I'm not nobody to tell y'all who to vote for. But what I am gonna say is vote pro freedom. And I mean really pro freedom. Not the hillbillies, not the Proud Boys as you would call it. I'm talking about pro freedom, like let people live how they wanna live. Let them be who they truly are.
Vote
Okay,
for
as long
people
as
that
it's
have
not
a community that you care about best interest. Like, if
exactly.
you are a part of the LGBTQIA plus community, vote for somebody that's, gonna defend you guys,
Mm-hmm.
gonna fucking speak for you guys, gonna prevent from harmful and hateful bills like these that are being passed or being
Exactly.
brought up to be passed.
Mm-hmm.
Vote for somebody that is gonna have your community's best interest because it's not fun, especially as a trans individual. I fear for my safety and the safety of others, especially drag queens
Mm-hmm.
and trans individuals across Florida and all these states that want to pass these harmful bills. Because it's starting off with drag queens first, and then next thing you know, it's going to be, you know,
An attack on the whole
not
community.
passing, like not allowing care for any trans individual. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
Florida, our governor wants to prohibit trans care for minors.
For youth, which actually
For,
that bill passed. I don't know if you heard. So
it's crazy out
he
here.
did pass that. Yeah.
It's fucking crazy out here. It's horrible. But,
Yeah.
like, make your voices heard by going out and voting. Don't just, once the elections happen, criticize, whoever's in office, and you have every right to have your opinion, but go out and vote because that's the way you're going to get what you want and have people are going to have your
Especially
best
in the
interest.
local elections
Of
at that.
course,
Because
those are the
even
most
me, like,
important.
yeah, because it affects us directly. And so even me, like, I didn't realize that until about like 2 years ago, how important it was to know who's in your House of Representatives, to know who's in
Representatives,
your
senators, stuff like
yeah,
that. It's
who's
it's
in your region, even your governor, the local sheriff, if you guys have a
mhm.
sheriff election and things like that. Like, I didn't realize how important that was up until 2 years ago, and I'm 25.
Yep,
So I'm glad you said that because that is super important
very important.
for people to be aware of. And like I said, I'm nobody to tell y'all who to vote for. Just like my cousin said, she gave the best advice. Vote for whoever is going to represent your best interests because that's literally
Hmm.
what the government was put in place for. So that's literally what they need to be doing.
Yep.
And I want to thank you so much for being on the
No,
show
of
and
course. Thank you for having me.
yeah, for educating not just the audience but me on what's
Anytime.
really going on in the community. I'm so out of touch and that's really my fault. I do need to go out more and just network more and get out of my
Right.
bubble.
We can all be perfect, but as long as you're making the effort to be out there and make a change, a positive change, then go
And
ahead
I'm
and do that.
hoping yeah, and I'm hoping that will happen with this show, which was the purpose of the show.
Of
Because there's a
course.
lot of people I know that struggle with this, and like you said in the beginning, there's still grown men who are not accepting of who they are, and they because they're not accepting of who they are, they choose to like spread hate and externalize that instead of just accepting themselves. And
I've come in
so
contact with a few of those kinds of people.
I'm sure you do
That
shit.
they on the outside are like spewing hate and a whole bunch of anti-trans rhetoric or like,
And it's
all this kind of
sad, man.
bullshit, but at
Yeah.
like behind closed doors, they're in my messages or in my DMs wanting to see me, wanting to hang out, wanna,
Mhm.
do stuff. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, no,
Yeah.
no, no,
Cuz you
no.
respect yourself. You respect
I
yourself.
respect
Like if
myself and I respect my community. There's so many other
exactly.
people out here that came before me that sacrificed so much for me to just like basically throw it all away just to fuck around with some dude with money, Like no.
Mhm.
But yeah,
I'm happy for
it's
you.
yes, thank you, thank you,
Know your
thank
worth.
you. I'm of course. And for anybody that's listening that, needs somebody to talk to, want to talk about any personal experiences or ask me any type of questions, you could definitely reach out to me on Instagram at GIUVENCHY. It's Givenchy or like Givenchy, but with a U after the I. You could definitely
Cuz
reach
he
out
bougie.
and talk to me. And reach out to me and talk and ask me any type of questions, personal. I'll be more than happy to, give some advice based on what I've experienced, or if I haven't experienced, give the best advice that I can.
So Givenchy though, like where'd you get that from? Cuz I thought that was fire.
So, Givenchy, yeah. Yeah, I just saw the name and I was like, oh my God, I love the name. What if I just add a little like twist or spin to it that like relates to me? And my name is Giuliani, Giuliany, right? I spelled my name right, Giuliany, yeah. And I just added the GIU, like the U after the I, and then Givenchy.
Yeah.
So I go on, people are like, oh, go ahead.
And by the way, guys, just so you know, because I do want to shout her out for this, but she's also an
Yes,
MUA
yes, I
in Miami,
am.
right?
Miami, Fort Lauderdale area.
Okay, so if you guys ever want to book her, if you guys are going on spring break, or if you guys are just going on vacation in Miami, because that's another hot spot for tourists,
Very.
definitely hit her up. I don't know what your prices are, but whatever it is, it's worth it. Like, follow her on Instagram, see the shit that she
Yes.
does for real, because what you and John C do, I'm like, bro, I can't. Like, I could never. That's why I don't do my makeup, because the time it takes, the strokes, I guess you got to do it
Yeah,
a
I
certain
mean
way. Like,
it's
nah, I can't.
it takes time to learn, but it's honestly very therapeutic. Like I just love sitting down, turning on my mirror, doing my skincare, and then just applying makeup, like taking my time,
Yeah.
toning
A
outward.
lot of people say it's like painting, and painting helps people with anxiety and things like that. So that makes sense.
I like considering like doing my makeup like a sip and paint, where like you drink wine and you paint like a mural. I'm the mural, and I just love drinking wine, so why not?
Yeah,
Best of both worlds.
that's true. But yes, definitely go check her out. What's your Instagram again for the people?
Givenchy, Giuvenchy.
Yes, and like she said, if you guys have any questions, obviously she's not gonna put your shit out there. She's not that
Right.
type of
Yeah,
person.
no.
Just hit her up, talk to her, like ask her questions. If you guys aren't sure about something, she could probably also point you in a different direction because, like I said, she's more connected. So
Hmm.
if it's something she can't help you with, she's connected enough to where she can probably network you with somebody
Yeah, I
else.
can I can definitely get you the right person to help you out with the certain situation that you're going through.
Yeah. So, do you want to add anything or say
I
anything
just want to thank you
to end the
for
show?
thinking of me and having me here to discuss all
Of
this
course.
craziness that's happening in the States.
I
Um,
know.
I'm hopeful that things are going to change and for the better, and people will just stop being so hateful
Yeah.
and stop using religion and hateful rhetoric to back what they're saying.
Yeah. Which I know I'm about to end the show like three different times. I'm sorry. But this just made me think of something else. But like, what can people who are not part of the community, but like our allies, what can they do to support us? Like, in your opinion? Because I have a couple of ways that they can. But what do you think?
obviously educate themselves,
Mhm.
go out and vote. Not for people, like, I'm not gonna say that you have to vote for people just because gay people, that you have to vote for somebody that's gonna be, you know, but don't
Right.
vote for like extremists that are gonna be like tearing down people that consider yourself close to. Um,
Mhm.
because it's not cool. And
Mhm.
as I've gotten older, like I've realized like I'm not gonna cut off people just because they think differently than me. Like before, I used to just be like, oh, you you voted for somebody that, or you back
Right.
somebody that's like anti-gay, then you and I can't be friends, even though they
Mhm.
themselves were not homophobic, transphobic, whatever. Um, you voted for somebody, which is attacking basically my community. But as I
Mhm.
gotten older, mentalities change. But it's all about education. Um, you know, be there for your community, or even if you're not a part of the community, if you're an ally, be there for people that are in the community. Be,
Right.
donate to, the Trevor Project. There's different nonprofit organizations that you can donate to that help people in need, struggling youth that are part of the LGBTQIA community. Do your part and not just sit back and be like, this doesn't affect me, so I'm not even going to do anything about it. Because if they're coming
Right.
for the trans community now, or the LGBTQIA community, it's coming for you next.
Mhm. Yeah, and the attack on women period
Exactly.
wasn't that long ago. Believe it or not, like it
Mm-hmm.
really was not that long ago. So, I definitely agree with the education part with everything that you said, but especially the education part because like I said that's something that I needed to do myself.
Mm-hmm. Very important.
And also just spread love. You know what I mean? Like people say people always complain and say like, "Oh, I wish things were different," or "I wish, this situation happened this way." But what they fail to realize most of the time is like we can be the change we want to see in the world. We just have to start with ourselves, with our own
Mm-hmm.
communities, with the people who are around us, the people we see every day. Like just spread love and light, be there for one another, love one another, be kind to one another. Like it's really not that hard. Just be a decent
It
human
really
being.
isn't. Because last time I checked, me being a trans woman, quite frankly, doesn't affect anybody personally. Like,
At all.
if I go to a store and I see somebody who's heterosexual, like, me being there is
You're not
not
gonna be
gonna,
like,
right, like, it doesn't affect you in any way, shape, or form. If that makes you uncomfortable, then you got some
exactly.
digging to do within yourself and seek the help. And if you're just
Yeah,
so
and figure
hateful,
out why.
just do something
Put
about
yourself in a
it.
little bubble and just stay in your little hateful box.
Right.
Basically, we don't need that. We got
Don't
enough of
spew
that.
the
We don't need
hate,
that.
because you're gonna catch the right person on the wrong day and it's not gonna end good for you.
No, for real.
Because
But
I'm just as
I'm gonna
crazy.
end the show on that. I'm gonna end the show on that crazy ass note.
Yes.
Thank you again for being on
Of
the show. I
course.
love
Thank
you
you for
so
having
much, and
me.
I'm
Love you
so proud of
too.
you again for just being who you are as you should be.
Same
And
to
if you ever need
you.
anything, you already know I'm only a phone call away.
I
Okay,
love
you know I'm
you.
with the shits.
Me too. I'm crazy.
No, for real. But we're gonna go to a drag queen show together, and we're gonna go to a gay club,
I'm
and
gonna
then we're
take you
gonna
when I go to
update y'all.
Vegas. I'm gonna find one and I'm gonna take you.
Yes. There's gonna be an updated show to this. There's
Yes.
gonna be a part two. But thank you guys for listening. I love you
Thank you.
guys.
Thank
Definitely reach out to
you.
her. And follow her on Instagram. And don't forget to check out the website and also check out the podcast Instagram page as well. Thank you guys again. Love you guys.